Russia's new border with NATO now that Finland has joined NATO. It's pretty much more than doubled the size it was before. This is mostly because of the Baltic states. Now, before Finland joined, the NATO-Russian border was along two different spots. There was this line along Estonia and Latvia, as well as we can't forget about Kaliningrad, which borders Lithuania and Poland. Well, that is until now. Over 1,300 kilometers have been added. Oh wait, I'm totally forgetting about this way small piece all the way up here in the north. I forgot that Norway kind of wraps around. There's also countries that are still in the application process to join. That is Sweden and then Ukraine themselves right here. I feel like a lot of people haven't really noticed how big of a deal this actually is. Or maybe it's just us here in the US. Keep in mind, during the entirety of the Cold War, Finland managed to stay neutral. They did that for like 5 decades straight, like 50 years. They did it so well, in fact, they even made a term up for them, Finlandization. I don't even know if I pronounced that right. Regardless, that is clearly not the case anymore. Here's a map showing foreign military bases in Africa. I did not realize there was this many. So starting off in the island of Madagascar, India has a military base, keeping the penguins safe, I'm assuming. Then there's the US with the only military base in Botswana, which actually is the only military base in general in deep South Africa. And I'm not talking about the country, I just mean the continent. Now, you actually notice a little pattern out of the French military bases up here. A lot of these countries were formerly a part of the French Empire not that long ago. And France, still to this day, still holds a ton of influence here. However, for a lot of these places, they are sharing a military base, whether that be with the US, the UK, Germany, Belgium. Now, Italy also controlled Libya during the imperialization of Africa, so seeing their flag here, not much of a surprise. But seeing the UAE also is a tiny bit more shocking. The UAE also have spots in Eritrea, Somaliland, and Somalia. Funny enough, the countries with the most military bases in Africa also happens to be among one of the smallest, country of Djibouti. Gonna try really hard to not make a stupid joke about their name right now. Obviously, this place has a lot of strategic importance since it kind of guards the Red Sea, which up here also happens to be the Suez Canal. So I think it makes sense geographically why there's so many bases right here. Interestingly, the UK doesn't have quite as many military bases as I expected. Again, as we've been talking about, a lot of this stuff just really reflects the colonization of this continent, but the British can really only be found in 2 spots, surprisingly. That is Kenya, formerly a part of the British Empire, and then Mali, which is actually not formerly a part of the British Empire. Mali's also a landlocked country, so I wonder why. Places like Russia and China can only actually be found in 2 spots, the Central African Republic and, as we've talked about before, Djibouti. I'm sure this is one of those maps that is constantly changing year to year. Probably needs to be updated. Comparing the Kingdom of Prussia back in the 1800s to modern-day Germany. If you didn't know, Prussia is basically responsible for starting the whole German thing, so it's a little bit strange how far west they've gone. Or maybe it's not that strange considering, you know, Germany's history. So the Prussian kingdom themselves was founded back in 1701. Obviously, they didn't start off that giant, but they slowly grew in the decades following. They eventually grew to the blue and then gathering up all the green territory, then eventually grabbing up all the what is this? Indigo? I think that's indigo. That is not indigo. What's that? Teal? What am I talking about? No, it's not teal either. Doesn't matter. All the way until Germany was founded in 1871 with all of this. It's very confusing though, because when you Google when was Germany founded, they give the after World War II date. Just have to be more specific when Germany unified, so 1871. Regardless, you can really see as the territory grew, I mean, they started from here, and then they continued to expand. You can even see the old World War I German borders kind of hidden in the background. This is what they looked like at this time. Pretty chunky boys. Obviously, they did not win World War I, so they were punished afterwards. They were reduced to just this. As you can see, they still retain a lot of their Prussian lands at this time, and actually, they were going to get even more, as we all know, because World War II was going to break out. I guess momentarily, they got the whole Prussian gang back together, but again, they were going to lose another world war. Then Germany was going to be literally split apart for 50 years with a West and East Germany until 1990 when they came back together again. So I guess losing 2 giant world wars kind of does that to your borders. You kind of just slowly drift away from the whole original plot. What's funny is almost the same exact thing happened to Poland as well. They've been drifting westward ever since. Here's a chart of the most spoken languages in the world. Starting off the list, we have Vietnamese with 84 million. I'm going to assume that number is actually a little bit higher since Vietnam has almost 100 million people living in it right now. There's Cantonese, there's Turkish, Marathi. Keep in mind all these initial languages at the bottom of the list are mostly native. That's what this orange bar is showing. Meanwhile, the blue part is showing non-native speakers, which interestingly enough, what is going on with this Nigerian language? Almost all Japanese speakers are in Japan. 125 million of them are native, but they do not beat Germany, as Germany only has 75 native speakers, but 59 non-native speakers, 59 million that is. So that edges them ahead. This is gonna become way more important as we go up on the list. Indonesian, Urdu, Portuguese. Very close between French and Arabic. Arabic is an interesting one. I guess they just defined it as no one is non-native for some reason. Finally, there's the top 4: Spanish, Hindi, Mandarin, and English. The reason why English is number 1 is because of the non-native part. It's the world's most popular second language. Look at how many native Spanish speakers there are. They actually destroy the amount of native English speakers and Hindi speakers. Of course, no one beats Mandarin out of China though. It's part of the reason why I've always wanted to learn Spanish. The sheer amount of territory and countries it unlocks is crazy. From Mexico to Cuba, all the way down to Argentina and Spain. Don't even forget about Equatorial Guinea too. Now, there's not a whole lot of Spanish speakers in the Philippines, but still enough to register on the map. No hurricane in recorded history has ever crossed over the equator. We here in the US, especially along the East Coast, love to always take these paths forming in the Atlantic and then doing some sort of either boomerang motion, or occasionally they'll just cut straight through. Of course, there are hurricanes or typhoons in other parts of the world as well. Japan, the Philippines, and China deal with some really bad ones. Now, there are hurricanes or cyclones or typhoons, whatever you want to call them, in the southern hemisphere. They usually just affect a lot less though. They don't affect quite as many people, so I guess that's why most of our attention is usually on the northern hemisphere ones. Look at these 2 ever recorded just next to South America. How'd that happen? I only recently found out that hurricanes can boomerang all the way up and end up hitting the UK sometimes. Usually the intensity isn't quite that bad. They've even hit my home state of California as well. I think it's only been a couple times, although that usually is extremely rare though. It looks like this one line here almost got really close south of India. Probably possible it can happen one day. It's just going to be extremely unlikely. Continental US snowpack visualized for winter 2022 and 2023. So as we move into December, again, the snowpack isn't too crazy, but watch along Washington, Montana, obviously the northern states. Here in the California region, we're getting an insane amount of snow. This is now February. Look as it continues to grow out here in the west, specifically middle of California. So obviously throughout the winter season, snowpack is going to build and build upon itself. You can really see that here. I'm surprised actually like the East or the Midwest doesn't retain a little bit more. I guess they are retaining a little bit here, but not as much as over here in March too. We're now getting into April and there's still so much depth left. That must explain why I'm seeing so many like TikToks and short videos about skiing and snowboarding. I'm guessing this is like the time of their life. If you're into that stuff, I've only seen snow like 5 times ever. Well, I see it from the mountains, but I don't like going to it. Man, if it's this bad for us, can you imagine Canada? A map of North America in 1836 that gave the United States Vancouver and a whole lot more than just that. We have a huge chunk of the British Columbia province out here in Canada. Now keep in mind at this time, there was still a race going on for this land, a race between the United States and British Canada. And it's actually not the only map at this time showing us controlling what was known as Oregon Country. Oregon Country, which also happened to be like Idaho, Washington, and then now what we know as Canadian land. As you can see, there was a lot of stuff out west that wasn't even a state yet. I mean, all this stuff didn't even have a name. And then obviously this is prior to the US-Mexican War. We also hadn't bought Alaska just yet from the Russians. Obviously this was before the 49th parallel was fully decided. We had it briefly for some of the territory, just not over here. Oregon Country was supposed to be shared. This area was meant to be jointly occupied by both the British and the US. If you watch Oversimplified, you know that that ended up causing some pretty big problems. But I just love how this map, 10 years before the border was finally settled over here, pretty much just gave it all to the US. Like, nah, we're not sharing this. This is just ours. I'm pretty sure the British probably have a few maps of them doing the same thing, except giving it all to Canada too. A map of the world showing all the countries Queen Elizabeth II visited. Obviously, she was around for a long time, but I had no idea she traveled this much. I mean, she had 70 years and 214 days to do it all, but I'm still impressed. Starting her reign in 1952, she would end up visiting most places in North America. A couple spots in Central America she didn't get to, but she got to a lot of the Caribbean. Unfortunately, she only got to maybe 2 or 3 spots in South America, Brazil, and Chile. I think they're counting Guyana right here. Of course, she reigned when the British still controlled a lot of Oceania. That's Australia and New Zealand, or she's definitely still recognized as the queen there. But she would also end up visiting Indonesia, China, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan. She went to South Korea and Japan, never North Korea though. She also didn't get to a lot of Central Asia, but those countries didn't become independent till 1991, 92. She also ended up getting to a lot of Africa, of course, British controlled Africa, not so much the spots that weren't a part of the empire. Really surprised that she never visited Egypt though. I don't actually know what's more shocking, the fact that she'd never been to Egypt or Denmark. Never Denmark? I mean, it's right there. Never went to Greece either, a lot of the Balkans. I mean, I can understand, again, the like former Soviet states. She ended up going to so many other spots, though. I just figured, I don't know, Denmark. I mean, technically, if she went to Greenland, that would have counted too. I don't know why she would have gone, though, but just make up an excuse. I don't know. She went to Nepal, but not Bhutan. I guess sometimes it would have been awkward if she went to some places, especially if it was still like French-controlled territory. Like, why exactly would she go to Southeast Asia? France, Cambodia, Laos, those were all like French territories. It might have been awkward if she actually rolled up on them. I'm both surprised she was so traveled, as well as surprised that she wasn't so traveled in certain areas. A chart showing different countries and their public transportation network density. Starting off in the UK, unsurprisingly by London, it is just one solid purple dot, and that public transit seems to be doing really good in England. It gets a little bit more hard in like Wales, Scotland, obviously Northern Ireland. Geography limits that stuff. As for Sweden, this is where most of their population is. In the southern part, it gets really cold up here. Poland has a fascinating public transit network density because it's just like dots in certain cities. It seems like it might be hard to get from one city to another, but once you get to those cities, oh, you're good. Compared to Belgium, where you can literally go anywhere. And unsurprisingly, it's pretty much the exact same in the Netherlands, although I do think maybe Belgium does a better job. Maybe it's just because Belgium is smaller, perhaps. Germany might be the best on the list, though, just comparative to their size. It's insane to me, as an American, to being able to just go anywhere through public transit. I guess you can technically go anywhere here, maybe, too, in public. Now, can you? You can't. Switzerland, of course, hidden behind the Alps, but man, the flatland, they really do a great job of it. Of course, they can go through the mountain ranges in some of these zones. Spain is surprisingly not as great as I thought it was going to be. They do still have a great train system, and again, it might be geography that's limiting them. They're very hilly. Look at how great Galicia is doing up here compared to, I mean, even Madrid and Barcelona aren't on that level. Finally, there's France, who probably has the biggest public transit near Paris, and then Italy, which they've got Rome down really well, and then the northern part of Italy, but as always with these infographic maps, the southern part's struggling in the Italian area. Not super shocking. And big thanks to my patrons. Help, this is the real Drew. I was kidnapped and that's the imposter.
Drew's Argentinian
The slow,
grandpa.
depressing Portugal
Schengen,
Follow
Amateur
Carmel
Archaeology.
JohnDenver,
KirinoIsBestGirl,
Robert
Animations,
TheGreatRalphy,
the Polish-Lithuanian
Drew.
Commonwealth,
His ransom is 5
ZaneyBoi,
fillet of fish,
and
and
why
he's
am I
at
doing this?
308 Negro Arroyo Lane.